Tanzania is one of the emerging nations on the African continent, experiencing an upswing in its economy. According to the IMF, as of 2018, Tanzania's GDP is an estimated $56.7 billion. From 2009 through to 2013, Tanzania's per capita GDP grew an average of 3.5% per year, higher than any other member of the East African community. And yet, as with so many developing nations, according to the United Nations Development Programme, the recent growth in the national economy disproportionately benefits wealthier quintiles of the working population, and 1/3 of the country's citizens still live below the basic needs poverty line. The forestry sector plays an important role in Tanzania's economy. Tanzania's forests cover over 37% of the total landmass, about 33.5 million hectares, and it contains such a high level of biologically diverse resources that Tanzania is considered one of the richest countries in the world in terms of biodiversity. Employment in the forestry sector is provided through forestry industries, forest plantations, government forest administration, and self-employment in the forestry-related activities.
Naitwa Bwana Alois Aurelian Mbisha. Mimi ni mshauri katika masuala ya teknolojia ya viwanda au mashine zinazochakata magogo na mazao ya misitu.
Naitwa Raheli Jonas Iswai. Mimi ni meneja katika kusimamia bustani ya miche.
Kwa jina naitwa Lucy Sanga. Ni mwanakikundi cha Braves Women Vikoba Group. Ni wanachama 27. Katika wanachama tumegawanyika. Kuna wanaoshughulika na mkaa, wapo wanaoshughulika na mbao.
Naitwa Luka Po, natokea Pandamiti Kibiashara. Ni operator wa mashine za uchakataji wa magogo.
Here in the Southern Highlands, forestry is a big business. It supports a lot of livelihoods. At the moment, there are between 10 and 20,000 jobs in the sector. Land availability generally isn't an issue in the Southern Highlands. This area is unique. In most areas, land is relatively available.
Social protection and forestry in Tanzania, the big picture is these people face extreme poverty, but also they are at risks and vulnerable. And they live in very remote areas in the country, and therefore they don't have social services around them. The major challenge facing the workers and management is the whole aspect of lack of social protection coverage for them, because majority do not have ability to afford continuous contributions, but also do not fall in the category where they could benefit from non-contributory social protection. So for them, this is quite a big issue.
The fact that much of the forestry sector's workforce is so remote is a contributing factor to informal workers sometimes falling through the cracks.
I think one big problem is awareness. Awareness is really a big problem, not only to Tanzania, but other developing countries, and even some developed countries. People are not aware of the benefits that are there by having yourself covered.
Yet workers sometimes still face hardship as a result of lack of compliance to labor or social security legislation.
Kuna kipindi wakati mimi nimeugua. Tulivyoachana na bosi hakutaka tena kunijali, na maana ni wakati nimeondoka yeye anatafuta fundi mwingine anampachika kwenye kazi, basi mimi nabaki nyumbani. Hawezi kaja kuniona tena. Na wewe bosi hata ukisema umpigie simu hajawahi kupokea tena.
Another argument from social security organizations is that the impermanent nature of informal employment in the forestry sector is another complicating factor.
We also have problems of contracts of employment, which is also an important condition to be registered. And again, another very common problem associated with the informal sector is the nature of the earnings. You know, in the formal sector, people are used to getting paid on monthly basis, but you don't expect that with the informal sector. They will have their earnings depending on seasons.
According to Social Security Regulatory Act number 8 of 2008, all the formally employed people are covered, including the public sector and private sectors. Plans to extend coverage is through community health funds. So far we have registered 164 community health funds. About 2.2 million families have been covered. And also to increase products and services for the informal sector through mobile contributions.
Workers seem to think they are being exploited.
Kwenye kazi ina maana unaweza mkafanya kazi alafu kaonekana labda mabosi wengine hawalipi hela yote kwa pamoja, wanaanza kuwapatia nusu-nusu. Kwa hiyo ukafanyia kitu cha maana.
It is clear that in Tanzania, as in many developing countries around the globe, there is still much work to be done.
According to the World Report on Social Protection, in Africa as a continent, only 18% are covered under social protection. Therefore, as ILO, it is our duty to ensure that the social protection is not only preached about, but we find ways of assistance. Social protection, according to our vision, is not about them. It's about you and me. And it's about every other person that is living, whether working or not working.
This film was brought to you by the International Labour Organization in partnership with the governments of Finland and Flanders for the East and Central Africa Social Security Association.